with the game right now being trapped, we need to capture our mouse click. If we look up in previous code that we have, we can see in the start state it's already doing something like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and actually I will borrow a bunch of the code here. We'll put some instructions on screen. It's always nice to have instructions on screen telling the user what to do. So let's see, filling it with yellow. White is probably not going to be the best color, so I will choose a black text, click to restart game. Then if mouse pressed is true, we'll change our game state to play. So right now we're just taking care of the win state. Then we'll figure out, once we can get one state working, realize that it's going to be very similar with both, and we'll make the magic happen. So test the movie again, or the project, not the movie. Click 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Click to restart game. Okay. 1. All right, so it looks like I could catch one more, and I would win, catch one more, and win. Oh, and then the timer just ran out, and now I lost. That's not good. So there's some problems that we need to figure out. The 3 items that we will need to update or set back to their original values are current time. We will need to reset the game score back down to 0. And I will need to set active drops back down to 0 so that only one drop will be refalling. Because if I don't do all 3 of those things, it's not a clean, fresh start. And we'll see what happens. We'll do some experiments not resetting all of them, so then we can see how it comes into play. The one that's commonly forgotten is the active drops. If we don't reset active drops, if our game ended and 10 was how many drops are falling, when we restart the game, suddenly 10 drops will fall immediately instead of just the 1. But then we have, a few other issues to worry about. Namely, we're going to have to tell the drops how to get themselves kicking again as well. But we'll figure that out in a second. So I'm going to copy those lines. So if I press the mouse, we reset the current time. We reset our game score, reset active drops. I'm going to just disable that for a moment so we can see how that's coming into play. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Restart, score reset, the timer reset. But if you notice, the old drops are still on the bottom of the screen, all the ones I've been catching. So if I actually exhaust my supply of drops, I could be in trouble. And then the game would run and there's no more to catch. So that wouldn't be good either. Infinite drops is not the plan that we want to follow. We want to have a pool of drops that gives us more than we would ever need, but not much more than that, so that then we're not going to experience a memory leak where we keep adding and adding and adding. Now if I reset active drops and try the same process again, catch these drops, if I restart the game, notice that the drops are reappearing at the bottom of the screen. They're not falling anymore until I get to a fresh set of drops. Oh, and now my timer ran out. Whoops. Because there weren't enough drops falling for me to be able to get what I needed. So resetting our drop is going to become important because otherwise our drops will stay parked at the bottom of the screen. So it's speed, Y, and height, the 2 properties that we wrecked when we caught them. We now need to kind of fix that a little bit. Now, if we look up here, we will see that we have some items that we could use. We can see, oh look, there's the y. Speed y was a random amount. And for that matter, we could, let the speed become a random number again, so they don't necessarily, they're not always the same speed. We could even have a game level, so every time we reset the game after a win, the level increases, and then we could make their speed increase by that, so each time they're falling faster and faster and faster and faster until the player gets really frustrated. But we'll look into some of those niceties and bonus features in a little bit. So resetting these, we just need to, it's really the two things we wrecked when we caught them. We're going to reset them. But speed y will then be some random number. We'll just go again with the same 1 to 5. And then y, we can put them back at 0, so that, or a negative amount, or wherever you want to start yours. If I follow, in the beginning, mine, they started at 10, so I'll just maintain that consistency. But I could certainly put them off screen. If you give it a negative value, then they'll always be off screen, which is good when they reset. So by doing this, I'm able to provide a method for the drop to reset itself. We just have to tell the drop to do so. Tell the drop to reset, because the drop now knows how to reset itself, where it resets its speed to a random amount similar to how it was when it was created, and it resets itself to a position back at the top of the screen because mine are falling in a downward manner. Now inside the game, I just need to now use a for loop, and we can say something like for int I equals 0, I is less than. Now, if I say active drops right now, this won't work, but we could use our number of drops, because we know that will take care of any drop that, for whatever reason, could have been used. That works. And then we just have to call that drop using our array notation. Drops, and use the square bracket array notation to access that particular drop in my drops array, and then we will call its reset method. So this cycles through all my drops. In this case, I have 100 drops in my game. It cycles through them and says, hey, drop 0, reset yourself. Drop 1, reset. Drop 2, 3, 4, 5. And it just blows them all out and makes them all reset themselves back to original factory reset. This is like pushing that little factory reset button on the side of an electronic device saying, all right, I want you back to your factory norm. And now if we try and play this, start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Click to restart, time reset, score reset, drops all reset, and I can play until I'm truly bored. And if I lose, 4, 3, 2, 1. When I lose doesn't have a reset yet, so I'm stuck. I'm the biggest loser at the moment. Fixing lose is really going to be very similar to what we've done with win. It's going to be so similar that I can just take all of this code and I can copy it, and then I can paste it in. I just need to change the color. The black doesn't show up on blue, but white text will show up on the dark, or on the pure blue background. So I use white text, and then that resets the game as well. So I can win or lose and reset it. From a programming standpoint, this isn't the best course of action to have two blocks of code that are virtually identical. So we probably would want to think of a way to encapsulate this a little bit differently using making another function so that it's now cleaned up and separated, and we will talk about that shortly.